Hello and welcome back to the Authentic Creative. Happy holidays. Expanding our capacity to feel good is even more important right now. December 17th, here we are. I'm so excited because my new friend Amy is here and she is a local friend in Camas. So, our guest Amy is a powerhouse of creativity, advocacy, and leadership. With a background in communications and theater, she has honed her skills over the years through roles in video production, voiceover work, educational training, but her passion truly shines in her work as president of the Camas Music Boosters, a nonprofit organization dedicated to supporting music education across our local school districts. This is so important to my heart and to Amy's heart, so we're going to talk about it. But since stepping into the role in 2024, into the new role, Amy has helped raise and distribute nearly 36,000 in grants to support music programs in 12 schools, from elementary through high school. She's a champion for the arts. I'm getting chills saying this and works tirelessly. Can you say that word 10 times fast? Like tirelessly with her team to find innovative ways to promote music education. We'll talk about how I met her because that was innovative. Amy's love for performance and storytelling also led her to create Kitten and Clucky, an imaginative kids adventure podcast, which is so amazing because I am like, kids need podcasts too, right? Like sometimes I'm searching up like
Absolutely.
what can the kids listen to? That blends her creative talents with her commitment to inspiring young minds. So I'm thrilled to explore Amy's incredible journey and the impact that she's making in our community. So thank you for being here. Happy holidays. I want to let you
Thank you
speak
for
for
that
a
like
minute.
incredible intro. It's making me like teary. I mean, you never hear like that kind of stuff, and you just wrote such nice things.
Oh, you're
So
so welcome. We're matching today. We've both got
we
our
are.
Christmassy holiday green on. I met you downtown Camas for the tree lighting ceremony. You had a booth that you were doing these fun, innovative games where you could like spin the wheel, and my kids were immediately enticed. And okay, also, I know this sounds like so ticky-tacky, but when Amy handed me a flyer about or the nonprofit organization of music boosters, like she gave me this little clip that was a music, what do you call it, not
It
note,
was a treble clef. It was a treble
travel
clef
glove.
paper clip. Yes,
And I was just so impressed. It's the little things. It's
it
the
is the
little
little
things.
details. That it was not my idea. It was our previous treasurer. She had found these paper clips, and she's like, it's so fun to just have something like that. And I'm like, absolutely, I agree. It's all about finding the little things that bring us joy. And there's joy all around us. We just have to remember to look for it.
Yes, 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 yes. And so something so little like that actually touched my heart. And I was like, I need to clip this. I need to remember it. I need to interview you. And it's to my heart really important to find other hearts that are devoted to acts of service, that are devoted to creativity, authenticity, feeling good. Especially, it's so important to bring the arts, specifically music, to the children, to infuse our lives with it, to keep it in our schools. So that's really at the forefront of why I wanted to talk to you today. Will you share with me about your journey, and then we'll back up a little bit, but I just want to really get to the heart of why this is important to you, what the mission is, how people that are listening can help expand the mission you're on.
Well, the Music Boosters is actually a very new organization. It was only formed a couple of years ago, and I had joined it late last year to help with our last spring gala, where we raised a bunch of money and were able to then we had this money, and then our goal is, of course, to get it back into our community, to helping our music teachers, to helping give them the support because we have organizations for athletics and athletic boosters. And this was Ethan Chesson's brainchild with a group of others, with Greg Hanyon, both fantastic music teachers, Michael Sanchez. I've gotten to meet so many incredible music teachers and also the theater. Sometimes, they wear multiple hats, right? And I've met them through the community with my kids being in them. And it's so important to have music in our schools and have children have that outlet available to them because not every parent can provide music lessons or has the time to do that. And to have that available to our schools, I worked with them a little bit on a project promoting the gala last year called What Music Means to Me. And I interviewed kids at Odyssey and Discovery High School and just ask them the question, hey, tell me what instrument you play. It was the band mainly and a music production class. And I said, what does music mean to you? And one of my favorite quotes that came out of that was from a student named Braden. And he said, it's that music is that beat in my head that gets me through that boring class. It keeps me going throughout my day. And no matter if you're doing sports or, the studying that you're doing, music stays with us through life. I mean, look at right now we're in the holiday season and music is everywhere. That's what makes it the holidays, those Christmas carols that we hear over and over that we parody, that gets us through all of it.
Yeah, yeah. Music was a really instrumental, haha, part of my life growing up, and I didn't feel like I belonged. I had a really challenging, kind of hellish seventh grade, which I think a lot of youth do because of that time in their lives. And music was this entry point for me to, in chorus, in school, but also in musical theater and also in community theater, was the opportunity for me to open my heart, to harmonize with friends, to feel like I belonged, to have a form of expression, to be able to come alive. And now it continues to, not just me, but for everyone I know, just bring us straight in that sensory way, that magical sensory way, bring us straight into our hearts of, into our soul, into our expansiveness. When I facilitate breathwork classes, music is the entry point to open the heart. And so I think it is one of the most healing, vibrationally healing, because we're all just energy and vibration, vibrationally healing things that we can be a part of, listen to, share. It's what connects us, it's what joins us. Like you say, it's what brings the magic to not just the holidays, but to every time of year. It is one of the most important things, I think, in our lives, and we don't always realize it, appreciate it, understand it, but it's what brings our vibration up. It what allows us not just like to feel good, but allows us to feel in general, just to feel anything.
Agreed. Agreed. Yeah,
Right? So it's so important. Okay, I have some questions prepared for you.
okay.
Uh, okay, so your background, Amy, in communications and theater is so diverse. What first drew you to storytelling and performance, and how has that shaped your creative journey today?
Well, that's there's so many things that factor into that, right? Uh, I actually got a little I was always involved in music and theater as a kid. And I had horrible stage fright, actually. When I was in high school, I could not speak in front of people at all. I just
Wow.
turned red and I would shut down. But I
Yeah.
could play my instrument. I played the flute. I could play in front of people. That was okay, but still a lot of anxiety. And then I moved high schools 3 times. So,
Oh, okay.
due to family situations and
Yeah.
whatnot. So, and by the third high school, I was like, I'm not going to know these kids long enough to care. And
Right.
so that helped, I guess, get over my stage fright. But previous to that, I had a speech teacher actually, and an extremely dynamic choir teacher who at Corvallis High School. And they believed in me. And I had that, faith and belief at that point. And my speech teacher actually gave me he did these things where like if he gave us all little blue pieces of paper and said, if you could give somebody a gift, what would it be? anything. There's no price limit. There, like it can be fictional, whatever that gift is. What would you give them? And he wrote on his slip of paper to me was confidence.
Mm.
And it was like, I took that and I honestly, I still have that little blue slip of paper.
Oh my goodness, that's so special. Wow.
So, and it's just like, I took that with me. And then when I went to the next high school, I got involved in the theater and I was in the band and in the choir. And I was just like, I'm not going to let this fear stand in my way.
Yeah.
And, and so it really definitely drove me to do things in the theatrical world and but then I had kids and I lost sight of that, which is silly because you introduce your children to music and all of that. But I spent some time being what I thought I needed to be for the good mom and everything. And I
Yeah.
let that theatrical storytelling side go for a bit.
Yeah.
Um, besides reading stories to my kids, right? Because then we did all the voices and all of those things, like um I don't know. What age are your children?
9 and 11.
9 and 11. Okay.
Mhm.
So the Elephant and Piggy books were around for
Oh
your
yeah,
kids. Did
we
you read
got
those?
those. We have them.
Oh yeah.
They're still in Bodhi's room. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Like those are treasures. And and they were so fun to read. And Elephant and Piggy had different voices. And anyway, like it just started. I was just like, oh, I miss this. And
Yeah.
uh when we moved back, we have been all over. We lived
Hmm.
in, my husband did graduate school in Wisconsin. So we were there for 5 years. Then we were in Ohio for 4, and then we were
Okay.
in Florida for 10. So
Okay.
we've been all over the country. And when we moved back to Washington, previous to that, I had gotten to a point where I'm like, I miss this and I need to figure out how to get it back in my life.
Yeah.
I spent the time with raising, not my kids are only not raising, like they're only 12 and a half and 15. So like, we're still
But
kids in
that's a
mix.
big chunk of it. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's the main
but
chunk.
right, like the little phase. I mean, I had lots of fun with them, but I hadn't done anything with outside of my normal, I guess, mom roles. And
Yeah.
I was like, I need to bring that creativity back. And during COVID, of course, we had all of this time to be. Well, I guess the world had a lot more time than I did. I was, homeschooling 2 kiddos, and my husband still traveled, and he was an essential, so like
Oh
he
my
still
gosh.
had to go.
Whew.
So it
Yes.
was it was
Yes.
that.
Yes.
But I'm also one of those moms that keeps them away from screens. So I said, all right, how can I keep my children? They're on screens for school. How can I keep them away from screens? What creative things can we do? And we had a podcast that we listened to, and it only had 6 episodes,
Okay.
and it was about animals, and it was animals doing a podcast basically,
Okay.
and they loved it. They had listened to those 6 episodes so much. And so out on a walk, I was like, well, what would we create as a podcast? And that's how our podcast came about. And
Love it.
it was so unexpected to bring back the storytelling, and
Yeah.
the fun and the adventures and the voices, and my kids do voices in it. And
Oh my gosh, I love
the
it.
other thing that was completely unexpected was it was a way to preserve our crazy Florida stories that happened to our family, told through the eyes of our characters, which sometimes were a bit traumatic and lots of lessons learned. And it helped my kids process through those memories that maybe were a little
Wow.
bit more difficult. Like,
Yeah.
we have an episode called Class Pet where seems completely innocent. We brought home the class pet guinea pig, and but we lived in Florida. My daughter had it outside, and she was giving it a dust bath, and she was collecting the stuff, and she opened the gate, and our dog chased the guinea pig into the pond. And if you're familiar with Florida ponds, they all have gators. So
Okay. Okay. I was like, where is this story going? Not where I expected. Not where I
no,
expected.
no. And I didn't know guinea pigs could swim, but they're good little swimmers.
Oh my God.
So multiple lessons learned.
Yeah.
Uh, it turned out my daughter jumped into the pond because it came to the choice of, are we going to be the family that lets the guinea pig die because it drowned or got eaten by a gator, or it's, she was like the little hero. She's like, I can't let it die. And I'm like, are you serious? And I'm standing there with like a pool cue or like a pool cleaner going, I'll protect you. And she jumped in and saved the guinea pig. And she came back, and, the guinea pig's heart's racing, my heart's racing. And, she's like, I'm sorry I yelled at you, Mom, but I had to save it. And I was like, that's okay. Like,
Wow.
we're all alive. That's great. But Florida lends itself to all kinds of great stories. And so that is retold in our adventures. But when we were redoing that and we were going through the characters and the voices and everything, it just led to so many wonderful conversations and then processing that trauma. And then our characters move across the country, and it was all of the feelings and stuff associated with moving across the country. And sometimes you can write things for your children to say that you want to say to them that they would not hear when you're telling them, but it's like reverse parenting, like,
That's
oh, your
so
character is saying that.
clever. That's so clever. That's so healing on so many levels for you, for them, for your listeners. It's an incredible way and a creative way to not only heal, but to be expressive and to bring everyone into that conversation of what is the lesson, like how do we turn the pain into purpose. So
Right.
I really love that so much. Okay, so tell us more about Kitten and Clucky. Like the idea came from this walk and then from, getting these stories out into the world. What impact do you hope that it will continue to have on young listeners?
Well, I feel like my mission in life is, have you ever done any of the Brene Brown, like find your core values, right?
I love Brene
Uh,
Brown.
so
Yeah.
I read that book not too long. No, I guess it's a few years back now. But my two core values were joy and confidence. And
Okay.
that's what I want to bring to myself and to the world. And that's what I hope Kitten and Clucky bring to people as well. And, and that's also why I work so hard with the Music Boosters, because bringing music, it inspires that joy, it brings that confidence. That's been my experience. And to help foster that and give that to kids who may not get it anywhere else other than their schools is
Yes.
so important.
So important. I love it. I love that you're devoted to this. Joy and confidence. That's so much, it's no coincidence that we ended up having this conversation because that's really so much a part of what I want to give to the listeners here, is that joy and that confidence. And I think that it can be really challenging to find confidence in all ages of life, in all stages of life, for various reasons. Like you talked about, little trauma, big trauma, things that we don't feel that we have control over, which is so many things. We can control our response. And when we can find the joy, the amusement, the laughter, the story, when we can find a way to use something to build confidence as opposed to feeling separate from others, I think that really is the key to so much of our humanity. Okay, so as president of Camas Music Boosters, you've helped raise and distribute nearly 36,000 to support music education. So what inspired you to take on this role? I know we've touched upon this a little bit, but you could expand on it if you want to. And what impact have you seen it make in the community?
Well, I took on the role because I absolutely believe in furthering this education. And I know our teachers need the help.
Yeah.
So, uh, and because I have the flexibility to do it, and not everybody does. And I think it's really important that if we have the flexibility to do something, that we should find that way to give back. And it can be in many ways. And I'm really trying to work on getting everything organized so we have more defined roles and be like, okay, like you can have this niche of whatever you want to do. So if anybody in the local community wants to come volunteer, and honestly, even if you are not in local community, you want to come volunteer with us, I'm totally open to it. And we'll find you a niche that works for you. because we have lots of them. And I have so many ideas and I want to help bring the boosters to a level I know we can be. But as far as the impact, I spent this fall we had over $70,000 in grant requests. And fortunately and unfortunately, only $36,000 that we could budget to give away. And then, we're looking towards our next spring gala. We had a teacher talent showcase this fall. So, we're building those funds up again, but we were able to um, help all 12 schools in the district. So
Amazing.
was a huge priority to distribute this money to all 12 schools. It was 14 different programs in the schools. And to see the reaction, a lot of them I was able to surprise with like the big check, you
Ah, I
know.
love it.
So that was so fantastic. I showed up in classrooms
I love it.
and even in the teacher talent showcase, Mr. Edmondson did an improv song and noted that I was surprising people with big checks. So,
I mean, of
but
course, it's like the arts is one of the first things to get cut. And so
right, it is.
people, I mean, people doing what you're doing, Amy, this is like the grassroots. This is you're making this happen. You're literally going out in the world and creating this incredible, incredible value. I mean, so many people complain about, oh, this isn't happening or that's not happening or oh, they're cutting this or whatever, but like you're literally creating it, doing it, making it happen, making the magic happen here. Thank you, Amy.
Well, I can't do it alone, and I
Yeah,
certainly have a lot of help. And
yeah.
we have more ideas than people at the moment. So the more people that volunteer with us, the more we can do. And I have been really encouraged by one, the financial support that we've been given by the community, which is huge. And they've let us be stewards of this money to help the music programs. I got an email. It's been concert week. If your kids are just in elementary school yet, right?
Elementary
Uh,
and middle, yeah.
Elementary, middle. So,
Yeah.
this is like the last 2 weeks have been, Christmas concert week, right? Like, we met at the tree lighting, which of course the bulk of the music programs were down there. There was the Skyridge Choir, there was the Skyridge Band, there was the jazz choir from Skyridge, there was Liberty Choir, Liberty Band. The Camas High School Band had 4 different groups there. My daughter was in the Fludolphs. So
I
it's
love
very
it.
exciting to watch them in their
Yes.
reindeer hats and playing their instruments. And but I mean, it was so important for the boosters to be there because it is such a big community event where we see our music programs on display. But also this last week and a half, there's another concert tonight, and we have on our website, that camusmusicboosters.org. It's the district calendar of all of the different concerts going on. So if you're a community member and you want to just go to a concert, check out our calendar and you'll see there's another concert tonight at Garver. Um, I'm not sure if
Yeah.
it's
Say,
Liberty or
say the
Skyridge.
website again one more time.
camusmusicboosters.org.
Camusmusicboosters.org, guys. Okay, great. Okay, so music education, such a
Mm-hmm.
powerful tool for kids. Let's talk for a minute about a little bit more about what this does for their personal growth. Because I have some ideas, but I think this is really like your fortes. What does this do for their personal growth? Let's talk more about that for a second.
As far as what happens with the students for their personal growth
Yeah,
or the
like
music
when
teachers.
they get that, when you present them with that check, and now the students get to have this boost of music infused into their lives. What does that do? We talked about confidence, we talked about joy. I mean, does it also keep them from getting into trouble, right? Like,
Absolutely. Well, so many of us, especially kids, we're learning to navigate our feelings,
yeah,
right? And we have you're put in a box a lot of times saying like you can feel this way, you have to act this way in school all day long. They're given lessons, they're told things, they have to go from class to class. And when they get to music class, they get a break,
Yeah.
right? They get to bang on a drum, they get to use the mellophones, they get to make weird noises, right?
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
get to express themselves in a way that doesn't happen every day. And it's that, yes, you get recess and you get to run around and get your energy out that way. But music lets us get our feelings out and help us deal with those feelings and those frustrations and overall, like getting those things cleaned out of our brains and helping us move on through the day. And so that's why most of us listen to music and stuff. It helps our mood. Or if we're frustrated, we go and like really jam out to something that like really is speaking to us at that moment.
Yeah, you're just reminding me when I was in high school of how much I just felt this community, this harmony, this inclusion, this really opportunity to fully step into my expression when I was in music class because everyone from every grade was in that class and it didn't matter what clique you were in, what group you were in. Everyone, when they sang, we were a group. We were together. We were in unity. We found that, like that unity together and within ourselves. Like it was very, very joyful. It did bring so much confidence. Finding kids that I wouldn't normally necessarily talk to, and now I'm next to them. Like we're all getting to share something special together. It's really different than anything else. And, like you said, like the sports are so supported and the arts tend to kind of get a back burner. So that's why I really wanted to highlight this. Yeah.
I don't think that a lot of people realize how much teamwork and stuff goes into a choir or a band performance. We see that, of course, in sports. We're very, very used to that. But if you've not been in the arts and you're like, oh, yeah, that was a nice song, but you don't realize all of the work that it went in to get the tenor and the bass and the sopranos and the mezzos all working together and holding their notes and doing those harmonies. It's all of that teamwork in that. And in the bands as well, all of the different instruments chiming in at the right time. Those are the things that we need. So,
Yeah.
and it's,
Yeah.
and I don't think everyone realizes that those are there.
Yeah. How much it takes, how much coordination and collaboration. Yeah. So, Amy, you wear so many hats: creator, advocate, leader, performer. How do you stay connected to your purpose and balance? I personally don't think there's any such thing as like true balance. I think we're always just kind of weaving in and out of everything. But like, I'm just curious, what are the ways in which you expand your capacity to feel good?
Well, balance is a constant challenge, right, for all of us. My husband travels a lot, so I end up with the solo parent gig a fair amount of the time, and which is good, but it's also it reminds me to be sure that I take the time for myself. I love yoga, and and my new passion right now is actually treading water at the gym.
Oh, I
So,
love it.
which is um I just love to just go and I don't like to wear goggles and I don't like to get my face wet. So but I love all of the other things about being in the water. And so just to like I go and I tread laps, which is, I can listen to music while I do it. Or a book. Uh, I listen to a lot of audiobooks with my kids and podcasts as well. So I'll listen to something and then like tread away in in the water, and that helps
Yeah.
me stay balanced you know uh
I love swimming too, and my both my kids take swimming, I think there's something so beautiful. It sounds like you like being in flow. Like you talked about yoga, you talked about swimming, you talked about listening to music and enjoying music. It's like so much of that is flow to me.
Yes,
And yeah.
I feel like we're always in motion, right? And so when I look at my free time, I'm like, well, okay, yes, it's my free time, but how do I want to spend it? Well, I want to, I want to build a Lego, or I want to do this, silly thing. And even when, the daily tasks, music is just so part of my life that like the daily tasks, even with my children, and like, I've asked them 3 times to unload the dishwasher, and so I'm at that point of like, oh, okay, I've asked nicely. I don't want to yell. I don't want to be the parent that's like, just do it now, right? Like, which
Yeah.
is, when you're tired and you're frustrated, that's what you
Yeah.
want to go to, right? Of
Yeah.
like, please just do the things.
Hmm.
But I've found that I can use music and be like, burst into song and be like, oh no, the dishwasher. And they laugh and they do it. And I didn't yell. And yes, I might have looked ridiculous, but they respond. And it keeps me in a parenting situation of like, okay, and so when you're frustrated, you want to release those emotions, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But um, you know, and if you yell, then you didn't you have that like cloud and those like negative um
It creates so much dysregulation in yourself,
right,
in them, and
exactly.
then you feel guilty, and turned off, and they're not going to do it. I
Right.
love this. This is such a hot tip for the end of our year, guys. If you're a parent, or even if you're not, and you want
Yeah.
to just scream at someone for not doing the thing, make a song
Yeah.
out of it. I mean, that's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful piece of golden wisdom right there. And I love it so much because when we're singing, we can't take ourselves too seriously. Like you said, like you might feel silly, you might feel ridiculous, but what a beautiful hack. And it's so interesting because you and I have so much in common. So one of my favorite things to do, and I've posted it on my Instagram a lot, is whenever I have dishes to do, I pop music on and I just dance around. And sometimes I video myself dancing around whenever I have to do dishes because I'm like, I don't want to do it. I'm just like the little kid inside of me. I don't want to do it. So I
Right.
put that music on and I have a little dance party while I'm doing the dishes, do some singing, do some dancing. So I think that's perfect to infuse our daily tasks and the things that frustrate us or that bring us down or that make us feel so bored with music. I think that is one of the best
Mm-hmm.
things we can possibly do. So, looking ahead, what's next for you? So, whether it's with Kitten and Clucky, the Camas Music Boosters, your personal creative work, like what are some of your wishes, dreams, visions? What do you want to share into the world as we move into this next year, this next season?
Well, I have so many things on my agenda. Like
Yeah.
it's so hard to pick which one. I've got an episode releasing tomorrow,
Okay.
and I'm really, really excited about this. I've been waiting to do this one for a bit because actually at last year's auction, I auctioned off a voice acting spot
Ooh.
for one of for anybody to come do a character voice with me. And a parent that was there bought it for their high school student. Her name is Juliet, and she did a phenomenal job. So I'm so excited to release this episode. And actually, it ended up being a two-parter because I try and keep my episodes to like a shorter time frame. 15 to 25 minutes is typically an episode for me. And so hopefully you can do it when you're running errands and like keep it on in the car or whatever.
Yeah.
Because we drive a lot. So, a 20-minute drive, like, oh great, we got an episode done. Fantastic.
Yeah.
So that so I ended up this is gonna be a two-parter because it did end up longer than not, but she does a song in there, which is so fantastic. And when we create songs in my podcast, I find music and I write lyrics, but I gave her a couple of choices and
I love
I
it.
said, okay, here's a couple of song options. Here's the lyrics. make it your own. Feel free to tweak with the lyrics, but this is the general. And she owned it, and I'm so excited to release this one tomorrow.
That's so
And
beautiful. I love how you're
so
changing lives one person at a time with music and creativity.
it was in the story. She also inspired the story because I said, "What kind of character would you like to do?" Because we're all animals, right? And
Mhm.
well, there are a couple of like they're the humans that own them, and they do talk as well.
Okay.
But for the most part, it's Kitten and Clucky who are my main kitten is uh, an avid book reader because her person they read books a lot together, and so she's like Wikipedia,
Okay.
basically. Like if we need something to find, we've got Kitten there for
Okay.
that. And then
Okay.
Plucky is our ADHD rooster who is all over the place and a little bit southern. And then there's there's the hens, which are my daughter's characters. And initially, when they started out, I was pretty sure that like two of them were twins because I was
Uh-huh.
like, we don't have a ton of differentiation. And then, like, as the podcast has grown and as she has grown, and for one reason or for some unknown reason, one of her hens is British. I don't know why, and it's
Love it.
really a
Love it.
fantastically awful British accent.
Well, you
Uh,
met my husband who's British.
so yeah,
Yeah, love it. Okay.
so I hope he's not offended by our awful accents, but because I think she started doing this accent when she was like 9, so it's not,
It's just inner.
you know,
Yeah.
it's not honed, right? Well, it's a lot more now, but it is. So we have this menagerie of characters and voices, but and animals come by the coop or they discover new animals, and this story of that Juliet helped us with. She was like, "Well, there's this donkey that's lonely that lives next to us." And she told us a story of Perry the lonely donkey. And
Hmm.
like, well, we got to write that episode.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
it's really going to be very exciting. I'm looking forward to hearing uh, her response to, she, of course, read the whole story and but she hasn't heard all of it. I know I put the song together for her, and I know she's heard that. But I'm excited to see how that goes. And coming up with the boosters, we've got our spring gala, April
Okay.
26th.
Okay.
So, and I will put another spot in there. So if somebody wants to be on the podcast as well, like absolutely, I'll write another story. And for Lacamas Lake, actually, they did an auction and we have a guest spot coming up there too. So it's fun to be have something unique experience to put in for a child or two. Or honestly, I'm open to adults as well. Anybody can experience music at any time. So, and I won't make you sing a song if you really don't want.
Well,
So,
Amy, I just want to reflect back to you how gorgeous, what a golden, beautiful, sparkling message you have, and what an important role, vital role that you play, not just in the community, but in the world, because you're really infusing your creativity, your values, your passion, your heart, your talent into the community. And I know that you've clearly made a massive difference on a small level, but also made those ripple effects on a really bigger level. And I'm so excited to check out your podcast. I'm sure everyone here is going to want to listen in for that creativity. And I feel like it's really inspiring me to want to find more creative ways to give outlets to my children too, because how much fun is it that you're having? So thank you for everything that you do. I'm so honored and privileged to have met you, to have had this conversation with you today. Thank you for taking the time to connect with me. I hope you continue to make a thousand more episodes of your podcast for kids, and that it just grows and grows and grows and grows, and that the
thank you.
the music boosters continues to grow and grow and grow, and that we keep infusing more and more of this creativity and this music and this joy into everyone's lives. So thank you.
Thank you so much for doing what you're doing and getting such a wonderful, healthy vibe out there and focusing on the positivity that is around us.
Oh, you're so welcome. Yeah. Well, guys listening, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for expanding your capacity to feel good as best you can every day. Please go on to Kitten and Clucky on where you get podcasts, and then also camusmusicboosters.org. I'll put that in the show notes. And if they just want to reach out to you, Amy, what's the best way for them to? Is it Instagram? Is it email? Is it through your website? How do you want them to find you if they have questions?
I have Facebook and Instagram for Kitten and Clucky. Absolutely. Our Camas Music Boosters also has a Facebook and Instagram, so there as well. And there is
Perfect.
a volunteer spot on camusmusicboosters.org as well to volunteer with us.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, guys, happy
Thank you.
holidays, and we'll see you soon.